Eating Clean in a Dirty World. And we are joined by some amazing, amazing experts and panelists here. We have Chef Chad Sarno, Vice President of Plant-Based Wellness. So glad that you're up here. Sarah Tolan, Prevention Food and Nutrition Director, and Dr. Wendy Bazilian, just overall food and nutrition guru, especially I love your sports physiology background too. So I want to start, general question, not directed to one person. This term clean eating, it's a real buzzword now. What do you think people should think of when they hear that term? Whoever wants to start.
You know, at the magazine, or how we define it at Prevention, is eating clean means trying to eat as close to the earth as possible, as many whole foods as possible that have had as little done to them from when they go from the farm, the ranch, the ocean to your plate. And there's obviously a lot of, you know, they can go through food companies, they can go through food labs, they can go through restaurants, but just as long as there's as little being done as possible, and it really looks, the food that you're eating looks like it's food.
We've heard a lot, and on The Doctors, on Good Morning America, we've said this a bunch, that food can be your poison or food can be your medicine. And in fact, data supports this. Upwards of 30% of chronic cancers are behaviorally attributable, meaning something in our behavior caused that cancer, and a lot of times it goes hand in hand with obesity. So talk a little bit about people who are trying to lose weight, what you think is the best way to fuel that weight loss.
Okay. Well, one of the things, you know, and we could talk at length, certainly about weight loss, but we'll keep it, you know, succinct here. First of all, I want you to know that you do have a metabolism, and it is a fireplace, and it works. Despite everything you might think, you know, I've worked with so many people who say, oh, I don't have it anymore. It's not working. It's failing me. It's there, and it wants to work with you. It wants to work for you. And we just need to kind of help egg it along, you know, as we're aging. I think you can turn back a little bit of the biology of aging, but you can't turn back the clock. It's ticking forward. And we can really work with our metabolism. You know, clean eating in general, like a plant-amped, I call it plant-amped diet, a very plant-focused diet, actually gives you the nutrients that actually fuel these cycles, all these metabolic cycles in our body. And if we don't have them there, guess what happens? We stall. The process can't go on to fuel, to give us the energy, to help us have the energy to burn, if it's caught up saying, I'm waiting on vitamin, you name your vitamin, I'm waiting on those blueberries, I'm waiting on something to be on the plate. So the clean eating approach really actually helps your metabolism. There are a few foods that can help you along. I mean, they all give tiny little bumps to the process. There's studies out of Columbia on ginger. There's a number of studies about red pepper. There's studies about the combination of protein and carbohydrates to fuel you and to sustain energy over time, about green tea and some of the phytonutrients there. But it really, at the end of the day, it's about fueling that metabolism and not holding it up. So the other part is that when we have chemicals coming into our body and when we are not supporting good health, it stalls us as well because our body has to contend with that first. It's not going to give you weight loss, I'm afraid, if it's fighting off other things. If it's trying to keep your immune system boosted in the throes of these offenses that are coming on. I call them the daily assaults of living. You know, you're going to breathe air, you're going to breathe, hopefully, great oxygen, we need it to survive. You're going to get a little air pollution at the same time. You're going to get sunshine for vitamin D, but you're going to get a little of the UV rays also. You know, these phytonutrients in the plants, they actually can repair, protect, defend, neutralize, eliminate all of this happening, and they support a healthy metabolism for weight management. 100%.
You know, I think the greatest piece of the missing information is, in the whole wellness conversation, is culinary education, you know, at the end of the day. Because really, you know, what drives behavioral change is learning how to cook, you know, getting in there and just cooking, you know, at the end of the day. And it's, you know, and we've found this, I had a role at Whole Foods Market. I was a global coordinator for these healthy eating programs. And we used to do these, we were doing these week-long immersion programs to where team members, at-risk team members, would go to these week-long immersion programs, and just by changing their diet within a week's time of going from, some of them from fast food lines to this week-long immersion of eating a diet of plants, whole plant-based foods, and seeing their numbers plummet just in a week.
Yeah.
And then what was interesting was towards the end of the week, I would do the cooking demos, and that was what hit home and really drove it home for people, and made it tangible, you know what I mean? Like made it really accessible for folks.
I think that's a really interesting tip that I'm sure many of us can take to heart is, even if you are comfortable in the kitchen, which I am absolutely not, thank God my husband cooks, but push yourself to explore kind of new boundaries and maybe take an online class, go to a class in person, work from a recipe or a magazine source as just your foundation, but you can always improve what you're doing. What about also the role of food in the prevention of chronic issues, ailments? We talked about cancer, of course, as an extreme, but heart disease, depression, skin problems, joint problems, GI.
I mean, it's fundamental, because if you're eating, so the average American gets 70% of their calories from processed foods.
It's crazy.
70%. So that's not only does that mean that you're not getting enough good stuff, you're not getting enough good protein, fibers, and healthy fats, and vitamins and minerals. It also means you're getting a lot of, I don't want to moralize food, but you're getting a lot of not so great for you bad nutrients, sugar, and toxins like artificial sweeteners and fake synthetic preservatives. That all that stuff that you're taking in and not getting, that's setting your body up for disease. I mean, a lot of experts believe that a lot of our chronic lifestyle diseases are exactly that, based in lifestyle, and that's nutrition.
And I think that is an important message.